I've joined the Rawvolution at Naturaw because I know that not all raw food is created equal. I'm passionate about feeding dogs as nature intended. After all, you are what you eat, and so is your dog. At Naturaw, there are no compromises, no confusion, just real raw food made with integrity and a conscience, offering 100% transparency, supporting British farmers, and only using the highest welfare assured ingredients is so important. They're a certified B Corp and reduce their carbon footprint by utilizing solar power and planting trees. They only use completely plastic-free packaging that's home compostable. Prudence and Mr. Binks are simply loving their nutrient-dense and balanced recipes. So try Naturaw today. Just go to naturaw.co.uk and grab 20% off your first purchase with my code AnnaWebb20. Join the Rawvolution and feed exceptional raw food. I'm Anna Webb, and welcome to this week's episode of A Dog's Life. I'm chatting to Woodgreen's Linda Cantle, all about helping people and their pets stay together forever. Linda Cantle, Director of Operations at Woodgreen, welcome to A Dog's Life.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very thrilled to be here.
Oh, well, Linda, I've been dying to chat actually about the really super PR stunt, I guess you could call it, that you staged just a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yes, yeah, it was really important message that we're trying to sort of really portray through that work to demonstrate the number of pets that really, if we supported them perhaps in a different way, could have stayed in their home. So yeah, exciting to have the imagery of those toys for all different species. Actually, we had them all different species toys spread under Tower Bridge.
It was amazing. It was like a sea of really pretty dog and cat toys, in all different colors and really stood out. And each of these toys, I think, represented, was it 10 dogs that had been abandoned or slightly more than?
Yeah, each represented 20 pets. So estimating that sort of over 25,000 dogs and cats that could have remained with their owners if the right support was available for them. And we had lots of our team there, and Elsa, the Labrador, who was skipping through those toys and absolutely loving it, to share the message.
Yeah, and I know because a lot of people, I think, not suffer in silence, that's wrong, but struggle in silence, would you say, when, with all the good intentions, perhaps their understanding of dogs isn't, what they thought. I mean, not all dogs are easy. I know that because I live with a bull terrier, but they're all complex individuals. That's so what one thing might work for one dog, through your friend's dog, whatever, may not actually cut the mustard with your own pet, and it can cause a lot of disappointment, stress, feeling of failure, all of these things that then, lead people to ringing Woodgreen or, the RSPCA or whoever. I think all rescues are under pressure at the moment.
Absolutely. I think that there's so much out there, and there was particularly during the pandemic about how great it is to own pets and dogs in particular, and how much they bring to your life. And I think lots of people saw the benefits, but what didn't come with that was the advice and the guidance to say, absolutely, you can have an amazing relationship with your dog and they can bring so much, but you also have to give a lot to that. They are all individuals. They have needs, from training to help them settle with you and to create that bond. They need, good quality food. They need to have the right environment for them. And I think what people found was that expectation wasn't quite met because they hadn't understood really what they had to think about before getting a pet, who might be the right match for them. And then alongside that, because it's not that normal for people to ask for advice with pets, people recognize that there are vets where there are health issues, but I think they struggle a bit more with general care and behavior issues, who to go to. So I think what we found through our research and through our day-to-day work is people think the only help available is when you're at the point where you're at crisis and you feel like you can't keep that relationship going anymore and you need to give them up, and that's the point that people reach out, rather than recognizing actually from before you get the pet to the very, very early days, there's lots of advice and information out there, and animal welfare charities can help you set yourselves up for a great relationship, which gives it much more chance of really seeing those benefits for both person and pet, and keeping you in that long-term relationship that so many of us really do enjoy on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. And circumstances can change. There was the lovely case study of Doug the Patterdale, which kind of, because I do love terriers, but I thought, it broke me, but it was a happy ending in the end. But he was so close to being rehomed because his owner lost her husband, and it changed the dynamic, which is an extreme situation, but an example of how intuitive and emotional dogs and cats, of course, let's not leave cats out today, actually are, and that something like that can shift the dynamic, and it can spiral.
It really can. And I think the thing that sometimes we forget is these things can happen to any of us. Unfortunately, life happens and circumstances change more frequently than we'd like to think, and that can relate to the amount of income that you've got coming in, to relationships in the household. And our pets are so sensitive to our needs. That's why we love them. But it does, we sometimes forget that it can affect them too. And I think that was absolutely the case with Doug, in the environment where he'd lost someone that was really important to him. It's a really difficult, sensitive time for the family to lose a family member, and then to see those behaviour problems coming through, not really knowing who to reach out to help, and then sort of finding sometimes that the advice out there is so expansive, it's difficult to find what will help you. And that's part of the role that Woodgreen and pet charities can really play in really making that advice accessible to people, helping people find the advice that is going to work for them in a way that they're going to understand, at a time when so many of us are overwhelmed with all of the things with life. We need to be able to, the Pet Rescue, Woodgreen need to be able to support people to find the information that's going to help them improve that relationship and improve the welfare of their pet, which ultimately means that they'll live better together at such an important time. And it's so often when they need them most that those crises occur.
Yes, no, 100%. And it's almost like, because in terms of your assets, really, as a charity, to keep dogs in homes means less dogs actually in the centre, although I'm sure you're absolutely flooded. I mean, I heard I think it was the RSPCA that released this figure, that at the end of 2025, so 6 months ago, say, the number of abandoned pets had risen by 25% in that year after the end of 2024. So that's an awful lot. That's a big number, 25%. I mean, would Green kind of agree that that's about the sort of feeling you're getting?
Yeah, at that time, we were certainly seeing a real increase in the number of stray dogs. So we support our local community by taking in those stray dogs that have been abandoned or lost, and where we can, we'll reunite them with their owners. But actually, those numbers of stray dogs that we're able to reunite has got less and less. Their owners aren't coming forward, suggesting that potentially they are abandoned, or there have been issues in the home that mean they don't want them back. So we we're definitely seeing that increase. Right now, it's sort of settling out a little bit, but we're still seeing more stray dogs than we did perhaps 2 years ago, and the same with the cats, and actually some of the small species as well, which always seems really surprising that we've seen stray hamsters and rabbits and all sorts that have been left and abandoned. So we definitely, rescue in its traditional sense, intake and rehoming, I think always will need to form part of the support that we offer for animal welfare, because there are circumstances that are just beyond our controls. When people pass away, when people move to different environments, that kind of thing, there are times when it is right actually to part with your pet, and our job is to be here to support that and give that pet the best chance at the next home. But in order to do that, we need to make sure that those that we do take in are those that need it most, so that we've always got space available for those. And to do that, we have to keep those together in their homes, to create that space to enable us to do that. And I think that's the thing with rescue organisations. We've been overwhelmed with demand for our support, and we haven't been able to help as many pets as we wanted to through this intake and rehoming route. So there are these options of keeping pets and people together is much more sustainable for us to support more pets longer term, and much better for the pets. Our pets now are such an important part of our homes, our routines and our lifestyles. They don't want to be in a kennel environment or in a cattery unit. They really thrive on that pet and owner relationship. And as much as we can offer that in the shelter environment, it's temporary, they're passing through, and it's much harder to meet their needs in that way. So that consistency of their original home, and if we can create that environment to work for them, is always going to be the best option.
Absolutely. And also the best option for the people involved, actually, isn't it? Because, and there's always that stigma attached with, I couldn't make it work. It's almost, I can only imagine it's like grief, having to relinquish a dog. I'm sure people only do it. Well, many people only do it because it's got really difficult, maybe the dog's bitten or something, and then that's a bigger concern, I suppose, as well. There's so many different variables. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think, people are distraught when they're passing with their pets. I think you're right. There's this sort of assumption that there are bad pet owners that don't care for the pets and want to give them up. But generally it's people that circumstances have just got on top of them. They feel like it's the only option. And I think that's why we really want to be clear and get the message out there. It's not the only option. Come to us sooner. Come to us as soon as you start to see and understand that things might be getting a little bit harder. Really, those welfare charities, Woodgreen, can be there to support you much earlier, to stop that problem getting worse, and to be able to support you early on. But I think a lot of people fear judgment from organisations and those people around them, and they feel sort of guilt and shame that they're struggling and finding things hard. And we just want to say it's normal. It's absolutely normal. Any of us who have owned or lived with a pet know that it can be hard at times, and that is normal. But that's the time to reach out and seek help, rather than hide away and think, I'll try and deal with this myself, and it deteriorates to the point of crisis at that point. And I think that's the important message that we want to get across. We're here to support pet owners to keep their pets at a time when things feel hard. We can be here to support you through that.
So in terms of support, Linda, is it, because I know vet bills are really expensive at the moment. I think, have you ever had, cases where there's been a big vet bill and perhaps people have thought, this is unaffordable for me, or, if it is a breed that perhaps was bought, on the internet or something, and it's got some issues, maybe a Frenchie or so on, or the brassy breed, it might be a brassy breed, and the prognosis is tens of thousands of pounds to fix the eye, the nostrils, the palate, and that can be a big. Are you able to help on that front if it is that sort of a, issue?
Yeah, it is really hard. We do support people with financial pressures, and with everything, we'll assess the situation and work with the owner to understand, is this a sort of one-off significant issue, and if that's the case, can we support them through this? But can they? The thing that I think is important to us when we try not to step in for one-off support, we want to help people to be able to sustain the care of that pet long term. So we work with them to sort of look at their finances, look at how they can manage them. So we may well be able to help with that one-off treatment and get them to the vets, or help them ensure that cost becomes more affordable, or Woodgreen can contribute to that. But the important thing for us is also then supporting them to manage their finances, thinking about how they can save towards treatment should it be needed longer term, because these things are rarely one-offs. Pets need veterinary treatment throughout their lives, and they need, good quality diets and support. So what we need to do to support people is not just dive in at the point of crisis. It's to work with them, to work through their case and their situation, and say, what can we do to help you keep your pet in this situation and keep them and support them. And that there are times within that, I know that's not going to be possible, and those are the times when sometimes with the support of the owner, we talk through, okay, well, maybe this is the time where we need to take on the pet, carry out the treatment, and look for a home where they can care for them and they can afford the treatment and the ongoing care for the pet. So we can't always keep pets and their owners together, but we always work with the owner together to understand what's the best outcome for them and the pet there.
Oh, yes. I mean, what do you feel about it's so easy to get a dog now? I mean, I feel, back in the day before the internet, was invented, people went to rescues and adopted. I know we did as a family, there were so many less dogs. It's brilliant that dogs are being embraced by us more because, of course, as you said, Linda, the benefits they bring to us are just manifold. You get out, you actually meet like-minded people. There's so many spin-offs of dog ownership that's very, very good for your mental health, overall wellness, everything, your blood pressure and more, but it is easy now, isn't it, to get a dog?
Yes, it really is. It does seem, unbelievable that you can just browse the internet for a living sentient being to join your family, and to be part of your environment and part of your life for long term. And there is so much choice out there. There's a lot of choice without a lot of information, and without a lot of information that's targeted at people to help them understand what life is really like living with a dog, living with other pets. So I think the difficulty is that information isn't available alongside those acquisition points. And it is something, being absolutely honest with you, is really difficult for us as rehoming charities. We all often get sort of the feedback that we're judgmental. It's difficult to get a pet from rescue, and that's why people have gone to other to the internet, to other providers of pets, because it's seen as too hard to get a pet from rescue. And I think it's really hard for us to get that balance right, where we really want to give people the right information. We assess the pets, the environment that they need, we assess them from a medical point of view, and we want to help people make the choices that will best fit with their lifestyle. So it is a really challenging situation, I think, for us, because I think it's often seen that rescue are pushing good pet owners away and pushing them into alternative acquisition points, when really what we're really trying to do and get right is how can we give the right information, right support to help people make good choices up front, to help make those perfect matches that will last forevermore until sadly that pet has to pass. So it is a very difficult time, and it's a difficult spot, I think, for rescue and welfare to remain relevant and to remain important, and to really help people understand why we ask the questions that we do, why we think it's important they know all of this information about the pets before they take them on, so they can really go into this open-eyed and know what to expect moving forward.
Gosh, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I love your TV series, The Dog House, and I just love the way that really brings to life everything you've said, Linda, really, whether people go to meet the dog and spend time and get this great impression of a network of support, for the potential new owners. And some of the matches worked, and some the humans thought, actually maybe not that dog, maybe, a little bit too big for us, maybe a little bit too bouncy, or whatever it might be, and I just think that series is so educational.
Yeah, it's fabulous. I mean, it's such a great opportunity for us to showcase, the wonderful relationship between pets and their potential owners, but also how we match. And that's a tiny, as you can imagine, it's a tiny picture of the information that we share. There's lots of conversations going on in the background with those people that are considering taking on those pets. But if we can just show the importance of getting to know and understanding what your potential new companion needs, and whether that's compatible with your lifestyle and routines as well. I think sometimes it's just so exciting, isn't it, to think about bringing a new pet in. It's hard to think sort of sensibly about things, and sometimes you think, oh yes, it'll be fine, I can change my routine around that, or we can do our walks away from other dogs, or we can keep them away from this. And when it comes to the reality of managing that on a day-to-day basis, it can actually be quite hard. So having those hard conversations up front are so worth it. They really do pay off.
Oh, 100%. And it is all about, your lifestyle, the accommodation you have, and your experience. I mean, some dogs are very happy not having direct access to a garden or outdoor space, but others do need that, for example, and it's on a day like, we're actually recording as the heat wave is about to actually reach ridiculous temperatures. It's nice to have a garden with shade, just to sort of lie on the cooler ground, and everything for the dog, have a break from being in front of the fan, and then come back indoors. And you obviously got your home all prepared for the heat wave. It's a big deal taking on a dog and a cat. There's so many different aspects, isn't there?
There really are. And I've got here, I'm in the office at work, and very fortunate to have air conditioning in here. And I've got Paddy with me, who's a sort of 5.5-year-old Labradoodle, big Labradoodle, and he's just chilling next to me because he just needed that cool space. And even in this environment, we really have to think about how can we manage and support our dogs, and they're all individual. And I think that sometimes is quite the tricky thing, isn't it? It's getting to know that individual pets and what they need. And that again is that benefit of the relationship that pets and owners have, that if we can keep them together, that familiarity makes it much easier for us to work and support them to improve what's there, rather than to always start afresh with new pet owners.
Oh, no, I agree, and it's also good for the people, I think, to turn a negative into a positive is a real confidence boosting, self-esteem boosting, wonderful feeling to have, really. Success, which is just a phone call to Woodgreen away, Linda.
I think that's it. And one of the things that we find so often is that people say to us, it's so much easier than I thought. I think people think about, you hear about complex behaviour training and, people feel like they have to be a behaviourist or a trainer to improve issues, when in actual fact, our experience and the advice that we can give can be really practical and accessible. And sometimes it's making really small differences to your routines, and small differences to how you set up your home and how you bring people into the home, all of those things that actually can make such a massive difference to the behaviour, to the environment, to the relationship. And we're incredibly lucky to have such an amazing team with lots and lots of experience, and they're keen to share it, and they're keen to share it in a way that people can understand it as well. We're not trying to make everybody experts. We're trying to create an environment where people can live happily with their dogs and just coexist together in a really, really positive space. So as we can just give really, really simple advice that really makes a massive difference. As long as we can get there just sooner, as soon as people flag, oh, there's something not quite right here, there's something I'm worried about, pick up the phone to Woodgreen, and our team on the phone straight away can offer that immediate advice and support. Sometimes it's just somebody to talk to say, that's okay, don't worry about it, that's normal.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference.
Yeah, that's it. They say, a problem shared is a problem halved. And also about that sometimes as well, to speak to someone who you don't know about it is great because you don't feel that judgment. And obviously when you're just hearing, as you say, some simple initial steps can make a big difference. And then after that people ring, what would be the next step? Would a trainer go to their home, or would they come to you for sessions?
So we totally tailor the advice to the caller and the inquiry. Sometimes, as I say, the advice can be given over the phone straight away. We can send videos and information over, and sometimes that works really, really well for pet owners. Sometimes they need a little bit more, so they might need to talk to one of our behaviour team to go through the situation in a little bit more detail. And again, they'll have personalised advice and information. Again, sometimes it might just be sharing videos. Sometimes it is a case of our team visiting or them coming to site and seeing the behaviour there as well. We also provide outreach support in some of the communities close to Cambridgeshire as well. So we're out and about in homes, talking to people, ultimately at their kitchen table, which means we can see the environment, we can see how the pet's interacting, and suggest there and then some really, really simple interactions and improvements that can be made as well. So everything is about, really, for us at Woodgreen, understanding the individual needs of the pet and the owner, and providing the support in a way that is most accessible to them and most likely to make the difference directly for them.
It's fantastic that you're doing this, really is. And I just urge anyone listening, that might be thinking, well, gosh, that could be me. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Help is a great thing. And so many positives can come out of it, not least seeing your dog happy. It's the greatest joy in the world, isn't it? Every day that boosts me. Oh, no, I could say that, it's a wonderful thing.
It really is. And if we can help just bring that joy back to more and more pet and owner relationships, then that is so worthwhile for the pets, but for the people as well. It just creates that environment that is so important to people right now in difficult times, and for our pets to stay with the people that they love really just makes such a huge difference.
Yes, no, I couldn't agree more. And Linda, gosh, well, thank you. All the links, will be in the show notes. I mean, is there an email address in particular you'd like to highlight for this, or the main centre to contact?
So I definitely encourage people to visit our website, which is woodgreen.org.uk. Lots of information and videos on there, but there's also the link through to our helpline as well. I know some people are a bit nervous about picking up the phone, so you can come through that website and ask a question, and we can reach out and tailor the support to you as an individual. But you can give us a call as well. We're also out and about in the community, certainly closer to Cambridgeshire right now, but expanding that as well. So wherever you see Woodgreen, we've got retail shops on the high street as well. So reach out to us, and we'll be able to help you in a way that feels right and feels comfortable for you.
Oh, Linda, just to give a picture, I mean, how many dogs do you have in rescue at the moment looking for homes?
So at the moment, we've got around 60 dogs in care. At the moment, we've got as many of those as we can out on foster. So foster is a really, really important service for us. We've got amazing volunteers out in our communities that will take our pets in so that they don't have to be in the kennel environment. And that's the same for dogs, cats, and our small pets. So cats at the moment, I think we've got nearly over 100 in our care, and that's because we're hitting on kitten season as well. So we've got some mums and kittens out on foster, so they get to experience that home environment, which means then we go on to rehome them. They're much more likely to cope much better in that environment, so people get lovely socialized kittens and the support that they need for life in that space as well. So we are full as always. The team do an amazing job here, supported by wonderful volunteers, caring for the pets as if they're our own, and spending time really seeking those ideal homes that we can match them to, so we can get those to their new homes and help those that need us moving forward.
Oh, Linda, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank heavens for Woodgreen. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you for loving animals so much.
Thank you so much. And the more we share this and the more we say it's normal to find things difficult, and just reach out. We are here to support people. We want to keep pets with the people that love them.
Yes, and the path of love sometimes isn't smooth.
No, absolutely not. And don't we all know that?
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
That's our show, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go on, rate and review the show wherever you tune into your podcasts. Thanks again, of course, to Linda Cantle and to all the great work that Woodgreen is doing. Thanks again, of course, to Mike, my producer, for all the music and production as ever. And if you're interested in redeeming any of the discounts from the super brands that we work with, just head to my recommends page at annawebb.co.uk and redeem your discounts. And why don't you subscribe? That way you'll never miss another show. Bye for now.